with Bhante and also Brother Tan. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bhante, for taking a lead to pay the respect to Triple Gems. Good evening, Bhante, Brother Tan, brothers and sisters in Dhamma. Today, we are most happy and grateful to have Bhante, Dr. G, Dr. Gandola Vira Chandima, and as well as Brother Tan as the moderator. Today's topic is heightening today's Buddhist youth awareness of the Dhamma's benefit. Yeah, awareness of the Dhamma's benefit. So these sessions aims to bridge the gap between the traditional Buddhist teaching and the modern lives of the young people. Bhante will share his wisdom on how the Dhamma can address the unique challenges faced by today's youth, emphasizing mindfulness, compassion, and ethical living. So we have paid the respect to the Triple Gem. I would like to share the profile of Bhante. Bhante is an associate editor of the journal International Buddhist Studies at the Buddhist Research Institute of MCU in Thailand and a research scholar at the Ronin Institute in USA. His research focuses on Theravada Sutra, Abhidhamma, and Buddhist ethics. He was formerly a research fellow at the Center of Studies in Religion and Society, CSRS, of the University of Victoria, Canada. His most recent article, The Function and the Contemporary Role of Sikkhapaccakata, Abandoning the Training Rules in the Pali Canon, was published in the Journal of Buddhist Ethics under Peninsula State University Press, USA. His work can be accessed at https://patisotablogspot.com. Patisota blog was ranked 58 globally in the 100 best Buddhist blog and website for this year 2024 by Feedspot. As for Brother Tan began learning at Buddhist Institute Sunday Dharma School Brickfields at the age of 12. Among his early teachers were the late Venerable K. Sri Dhammananda and the Venerable H. Gunaratana. He has served as vice chairman, then chairman of Buddhist Missionary Society Youth Session at Brickfields Mahavihara, and as the escort of the parent body, BMS. Brother Tan was appointed the director of Nadana Institute Malaysia in 2014. He was also appointed lay advisor to the escort of the Subang Jaya Buddhist Association in 2016. He is an active Dhamma speaker, giving talks in Malaysia and Singapore. His talks center around daily practice of Dhamma and how it transforms one's life. Brother Tan is a striving meditator practicing Satipatthana method regularly. Before retiring in 2017, Brother Tan worked as a senior academic in Taylor's University. Without further ado, I would like to pass the floor to Brother Tan. Thank you.
Good evening, Venerable Sir. Permission to speak. Dear Dhamma brothers and sisters, I am very happy to be here this evening in these temple grounds where actually I grew up. Sister mentioned I came here. I was taken to Sunday Dhamma school at the age of 12. So I have seen the many changes here in this vihara. And I consider myself actually part of the community that has grown up in this temple. I'm also very honored to share this panel, with Venerable Dr. Chandima, whom I know has been doing wonderful work here in Malaysia. Of course, where he is currently residing in Canada, I've seen a lot of the efforts of Venerable, where he has produced a website, and he's done so many videos that bring the Buddha's wonderful teachings to both the Eastern as well as the Western Buddhist communities, and not just the communities, anyone who wants to listen and learn, and as well as benefit from the Buddha's teachings. This evening, when we began our discussion, I suggested to Bhante that we talked more about the young people of today, especially young Buddhists. So sister in the introduction also mentioned, I was working in a university. So in that role, in that capacity, I was surrounded by young people every day when I went in to work. And also I was involved with the Buddhist Institute Sunday Dhamma School here. And right now at the Nalanda Institute, we are running many courses, courses in the Buddhist studies at the certificate, advanced certificate level, and also sutta study, and very specialized events, where we try to understand the Buddha's teachings as much as possible. So the well-being, the development, the advancement of young people is very close to my heart. And I also understand Bhante has been very much involved in the development of young people as well. So I suggested, and Bhante very gracefully he agreed. So we will today tap into Bhante's understanding of how to develop Buddhists in general, but specifically our young people. In Malaysia, especially in the Theravada organizations, the leaders of these organizations all have gray hair, white hair, gray hair. And it's very hard to see a leader in these organizations, the Theravada Buddhist organizations, with black hair. Really, black hair with a lot of energy, to put into their efforts to make known the Buddha's teachings. And as I looked around also when I was working in the university, I found that young people, they have so many distractions. They have many things to occupy them. And then I think, especially this device, here, right, called a handphone, mobile phone, it's the first thing they see when they wake up, and the last thing they see when they go to sleep. And for me too. I have to admit, because I try to keep, in touch with many people. So I would encourage, everyone here. Thank you for being here this evening. And I hope that you also get involved in the dialogue, because this is a dialogue. And if you have any opinions or any questions you would like to ask, please don't hesitate to ask. Yeah, we want to hear from you, to see whether we understand the problems, that confront today's youth. And also, if I may, Bhante, let me share some facts and statistics. And this is something which became very, very clear and apparent to me, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. We had what was called here MCO, where people were all told to stay in their houses, and they couldn't come out. And because they couldn't come out, they couldn't work. And many of them, because they couldn't work, they couldn't earn a living. And there was a high level of unhappiness during that time. And since then, we have seen that even though things have opened up and we are free to do what we want to do, the level of unhappiness or ill-being, not a really good state of mind, seems to hang on in our society. So let me share with you some facts and figures that I have found out, especially concerning Malaysian youth. 71, and this is from a survey that was carried out in the year 2022, 71.9% of Malaysian youth as a whole, they have a moderate, not a very high, but a very moderate risk of mental health issues. 71.9 is almost 3/4. So according to what these people found out, almost 3/4 of our young population, lower from the age of 30, 29 below, they seem to have this propensity, the mind starts to think about, unwholesome things to do. Then on top of that, about 52.7% of youth experience mild anxiety. They are very anxious. Their minds cannot rest. And 30.9% experience minimal anxiety. That means very little. So mild to minimal. And about 45.3% of youth experience mild depression. You know what is depression? You've seen some people suffering from depression. That is, they go inside, and then after that, there's no energy to come out. So they stay inside this dark place in their mind, and they don't enjoy life anymore. So sometimes they have to be taken to the hospital for very, very extreme treatment. And 41.3% experience minimal, a little bit of depression. So depression is something that is taking hold. The extreme depression, we don't want to know about, but it does concern us, who are elder, and we have young people under our care. We are taking care of them. So, so this was a study between the Youth Research Malaysia and UNICEF, United Nations. This is what they found. And this is something more extreme, and this is the rate of suicides. Suicide is extreme, negative state of mind. So here it says, according to the Star newspaper, it says that a total of 872 teenagers aged 15 to 18 committed suicide between January 2019 and May 2021. So of all the suicide cases in Malaysia between that time, it's 51%. So more than half of those who want to kill themselves and actually do. This is not the try and kill but don't succeed. This is real succeed. Is 51%. is quite high. Yeah, for somebody who is so young, it's quite high. So this is something which we want to discuss with Bhante so that we can learn, especially as a Buddhist. And we have the greatest doctor, the greatest psychologist, the Buddha, is our teacher. And in many other countries, they are learning how to take care of their minds. Yeah, last year in the US alone, the hardware and software that people bought into in order to learn mindfulness meditation equaled 1.2 billion US dollars. They spend so much money to learn mindfulness. And here in this temple, how much? We never charge a cent, not a single cent. So we hope those Americans don't hear about it and then come here and learn everything, without having to pay. So this is, I think, quite an important issue, with young people. Yeah. So Bhante, if I may, may I start the dialogue by I prepared some questions. So I would like to ask Bhante the questions so that we can tap into Bhante's vast knowledge and understanding of this field. I would like to start with not concerning mental health yet, but about youth, Malaysian Buddhist youth in general. So I allow me to ask this question. We observe here in Malaysia, Bhante, that Buddhism does not seem to attract or interest today's youth. Yeah, I wonder if you agree with me or not. Does Bhante share the same observation? Because Bhante has been coming here, and though Bhante is currently based in Canada, Bhante travels quite a lot. So does Bhante notice the same situation in other Buddhist cultures, in other Buddhist countries? Yeah, do they have this similar, we don't want to say problem, but this type of situation? Yeah, so Bhante.
Good evening, Dhamma friends. Brother Chye, thank you for coming and taking up the role of a moderator. Carefully observing your stats, Malaysian stats, and along with the UNICEF. I think this is not a specific country-specific thing. This is what has been happening everywhere in the world, especially in Japan, where you see a lot of young people take their lives. So if I am direct to this question, I would say it is not the Buddhism that is not attracting. It is the way how those people are presenting Buddhism to the youth. When we talk to a baby, maybe a child, how are we going to do that? We're going to sit with them, probably we're going to bend with them. We are trying to tap into their level, right? Because baby is too short, right? So we are tall. So we're going to sort of bend down, have a conversation with the baby. So the main issue with regard to why Buddhist teachings do not attract them is not a problem within Buddhist teachings. It is the presentation and what the so-called people are presenting, have been presenting. Yes. Now say for instance, a very simple example. When we teach Dhamma to Dhamma school children, it is quite often the norm that they teach most of the mythological things, which we cannot prove. One very good example is Prince Siddhartha walked for 7 steps, and for each step there was a lotus came in. So when we are teaching these things, the first thing that young people start to ask is, how does it happen, right? It must have happened, but the problem is how to explain it. So I think even in that example, the teachers or whoever the people who are teaching, maybe monastics, lay people, they should have picked up something that is sensible to the young people. That way you are trying to make Dhamma bit easier for young people to understand. So the first problem is these, I don't want to pick up any organization, the whole Buddhist community as a whole, majority, has been unable to build a good relationship with them. So their relationship with the young people is very ineffective. So that is the issue. It is not the Buddhist teaching. So if I'm very specific about this issue, I would say, why do we teach those kind of things to young people? Why don't we pick up very interesting things about their future plans, how to make good money in ethical ways, then how to find out answers to geopolitical problems within the country and outside the country, then how to see the growth, how to see other people, how to see the compassion. So why don't we bring these aspects into Dhamma school and focus on them, and which can really touch everybody in their life, rather than bringing some unnecessary things.
Yes.
I think they are not necessary. Now I would start with a very true story.
Yes.
This happened long time ago, probably 2012. So one Buddhist monk from Sri Lanka, he went to Ottawa. And then he was asked to teach in the Dhamma school. Right? So he was teaching, I think, grade 7 or grade 8. So he was going to teach about the Buddha's omniscience. Buddha's omniscience means the Buddha knows everything. We call it Sabbanyuta Jnana. You can see that in many places, actually, in the suttas. Actually, Buddha never calls himself as Sabbanyu. Now, when people ask him, Bhante, you are Sabbanyu? No, I am not Sabbanyu. But those people, other pre-Buddhist teachers, they call themselves to be Sabbanyu. He never admits that. But Pali commentaries and books, especially in the Khuddaka Nikaya, Patisambhidamaka, they say Buddha is Sabbanyu. But Buddha himself denies that he is not Sabbanyu. So anyways, so this young monk, he picked up this topic to teach young children. I think he's going to go into a mess now. I know. Because these children will question. What happened was that there was a teenage girl who was carefully listening to him, and she raised her hand. She was Sri Lankan Canadian, was born in Canada. Now the monk is saying that Buddha knows everything. So she raised her hand, she said, Bhante, I think Buddha knows something, but not everything. Because she's trying to navigate in her own way. Then this kind of questioning is not common in Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, when a monk goes to a Dhamma school, they're all like terrified, and then they listen to him and they write down and then sit for the exam. That's a normal way. So he was not happy about it because it's a little bit different than Sri Lanka. Yes. And halfway of that explanation, she again raised the hand. The monk was very serious about the Buddha's omniscience. The Buddha is omniscient. He knows everything. He can know everything. Then she said, I still think Buddha knows something, but not everything. Then just before the class is going to end, she again raised the hand because she cannot intellectualize about this issue. I think I'm serious. Buddha knows something, but not everything. The monk was really angry about it because it was a very, challenging what he was teaching. But anyways, he felt something wrong. So when I went to Ottawa that time, he wanted to talk to me. So he knows that I was working with students at one of the universities in Canada. So then I said, in the first place, when you have a lot of important topics to teach young people, why did you choose this kind of topic? Can you prove the Buddha is omniscient? No. Can I prove that same thing? You should have picked up something that is sensible to the young people. So initially, this is one small example. There are many examples. So the Buddhist speakers, XYZ speakers, and if you go to the institutions as well, in their outreach, in their approach, they have been unable to build the relationship with the young people. So they are always going back to the stereotypes in the 70s, 80s, 60s methods. Now, the world has been changed, right? So that is the biggest issue which has been happening across the world, not even in Malaysia. Now, say for instance, if you are a committee member in a Malaysian Buddhist institution or maybe somewhere else, at the end of the committee meeting, they always talk about why are not young people coming to the temple? They make it a hot topic, but they are the ones who are preventing them to come, right? Because they never invite them to the leadership table. As you said, you know who they are. Maybe they are thinking that these people are not up to the level of decision making, right? So the first thing is, as a whole, especially those Theravada institutions, they have been unable, most of them, probably 99% of them, have been unable to build a relationship with the young community. Now, say for instance, if you take other schools, they are a little bit liberal actually. Now, let's say even a new devotee goes to a Mahayana temple, they are welcoming you. They don't want to question most of the temples, XYZ, where are you coming from, why did you come, who connected you to the temple, right? The devotees are not bothered. But if you go to the other type of schools, they are asking a lot of XYZ questions. How did you connect to our temple? From today you have to do this, do's and don'ts. A lot of imposing about the stuff. So it is not even a problem to the young people, even to the other people who are joining for the first time. So my understanding is that not building the relationship is the first issue. So that has been happening everywhere in the world. Second is that they are not invited onto the leadership level. So you have to give them a chance, right? When you give a chance, they will come up with their own ideas. Otherwise, they have to come and watch what the seniors are doing here, right? They are decided by them in the end and at the end, at the beginning, during the time. So I think let's unpack all these things later on. But what I can say is, as a whole, many Buddhist organizations, especially the Theravada ones, and the speakers who are approaching people, they have been unable to build this true relationship with the young people because of their approach. They haven't understood what the young people really need. So then what has happened, young people think that Buddhism cannot benefit us. We better be atheist. We better be agnostic. If you go to China, you see how many atheists are there. They don't have a religion. They publicly say, if you go to Canada, right, it's a secular state at the moment. So even when you are invited to teach in a Canadian university, they say it's a liberal school. You can't bring this and that Buddhism, right? So this is the issue. So not understanding what the young people want, not giving them an opportunity. So this is a widespread issue, more or less. So I understand this is happening in many places. But if you go to Thailand, Sri Lanka, it's a different situation. They have their own different roots. But in particular, in other countries, it has been a commonplace because of not addressing what they really want. My simple example is, when you talk to a baby, you sit down and be with the baby. Otherwise, you can't make a conversation with the baby. So we have to be with them.
Yes, thank you so much, Bhante. So would Bhante say that, on the side of those present old leaders, how do we actually convince them or ask them to have a more liberal approach towards Buddhist activities, and so that the young people feel that it's relevant and it suits their temperament?
Very good question. One thing is that I feel those leaders, whether those leaders are accommodating another generation into the leadership roles in the temple. So they mostly hang on to their roles. Probably they might run the organization as a family business in some places, right? So they have to go beyond that thing. Temple is not a family business. Temple is something that you have to plan for the next 10 to 20 years. What are the trends coming up? So I think the leaders, I don't call them gray hair people. There may be a good leader who has gray hair, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they can dye their hair too. But I think they have to think more than how they enjoy the lineage in the temple.
Yeah.
So they have to come up with certain plans. If you really want the young people to come to the temple, or really want to give the young people true Buddhism, how they feel privileged to benefit, then we have to go out of our own traditional way. Right? So the easiest thing is not to change everybody, find a good leader in the first position. Everybody else will be changed. That's the easiest way. In case if there happens to be a young leader in the top position, he or she will change everybody.
Yes.
We can't change everybody in the organization. A good leader is a thing that we could think about. Now I remember when I went to Trangano in my last trip to give some talks, TBA, I just mentioned. There is a young president in that organization. So he was talking to me, and I saw that they are running the temple a little bit differently. He said that on the Vesak day, he invited the most, public vendors into the temple. You do the business from the temple on that day. So what happened, all the customers on that day, they cannot go to the normal place of the restaurant. So they have to come to the temple on that day, Buddhist center, so they have to buy. They initially thought this will attract people in a different way, but what happened, when the customers came to the center, they bought the food, and then the vendors donated all the money to the temple.
Yes.
Right? So then what happened was, customers are not Buddhist people. They may be different religion, but they see the Buddhist flag, they see the Buddhist name, they see the Buddhist center. This is one approach that they did, which I see in the Malaysian context. Second is that to attract the young people, they were organizing a tournament, volleyball tournament somewhere. Then the senior people were questioning, how come you bring volleyball to the Buddhist center? They said, no, we are not bringing volleyball into the Buddhist center. We are doing it somewhere else. But when we are doing it, we have a banner. This tournament is in aid of the Buddhist centers, whatever planning. So when non-Buddhists even come to the tournament, they see, this is for the Buddhist center. So they won't come to a Dhamma talk.
Yes.
Right? So get the attraction.
Yes.
Right? And then music. Right? Buddhist music is one of the very good ways to attract many people. There is no religion at that point. Right? And then they have a drama group about Buddhism. Drama group. They do some Jataka stories. A lot of things to do actually, attract people. And they have some artifacts, Buddhist artifacts. So then they can cover up the archaeology side. Right? So these are living proof in Malaysia. So many senior devotees were not happy about it. How come you have to run it as in 70s, 80s with the cassettes and booklets? If actually he is the son of one of the past presidents in 70s in that center. So when he took up the position, everything took a different turn. So I think if we can find a good young leader who can be very wise, he or she can really change everybody. Otherwise we can't change everybody in the middle management. It's not easy.
Yes, Bhante, I remember, when even here, when we started to sing Buddhist hymns, there are some people who were not in favor. So how can you sing English songs? At that time, we were singing the English hymns. Yeah, some of them composed by Sri Lankan people. There were those who didn't like it, here. But our late Chief Venerable, he supported us. So we were able to, sing these hymns, here. So I totally am inspired by what Bhante is saying. Yeah, that we those old leaders, I think, should try and let go a little bit. Yeah, but when we come to areas of religion, sometimes we associate it with culture. Yeah, and people are not comfortable to let go of what they have been practicing for a long time. So I suppose, when it comes from somebody as respectable as Bhante, I hope people will listen. Yeah, but even if sometimes the young people, and I've seen it in some organizations, young people want to do something different, but the leader said, no, cannot, we never have done it this way. Yeah, so don't do.
No, we will give you the thing that you have to do.
Oh, right.
They have an idea.
Yes.
And we will adapt it and give you the version, then you do it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the last time they come to the temple.
Yes.
They won't come back again.
They are. That's a problem.
So we are those are the people who are stopping.
Yes. So
I mean, not the whole, but majority of the places.
Yes.
Majority.
So I think what is needed is, of course, change. Yeah, we have to suit the mindset, the preference of the younger people, and therefore, when they see that it's meaningful to them, I think, they will want to do something for the Buddhist organization. Yeah. So please think about what we are saying, what Bhante is saying. Yeah, and if you want, you can ask questions, and later on, after this, you can add, to the conversation. Yeah, right. Thank you so much for that, Bhante. I'd like to move on to the next question, which I have prepared. And this is, something to do with what's happening all over the world. There are studies also, I go online and very often to find out what research groups are finding out. There are studies that show more and more people, and this is of course unfortunate, more and more people are disinterested. They are no longer interested in religion nowadays. The religion that they grew up, it doesn't mean it's just Buddhist, it's other religions as well facing the same problem. However, this is an interesting finding. Studies also show that people are becoming more interested in practicing meditation. So on one side, they don't like religion. On the other side, they like to practice meditation, especially mindfulness, as I mentioned just now. So many people are discovering the value of following the Buddhist bhavana techniques taught by the Buddha. And of course, many of these teachers, they try to remove the Buddhist aspect, so that they can reach a wider audience. So I would like to ask Bhante, how do these two developments impact each other? On one side, don't like religion. On the other side, like to meditate. Yeah, Bhante?
Interesting. I think this question has to be answered carefully, because there is another side, and we are only looking at from certain people and what they like. So first of all, I wanted to say, Buddhism is neither a religion nor a philosophy. That is how we have to understand. It's a way of life. But when you talk about Buddhist teachings, people put it into the bracket of religion and philosophy. Actually, philosophy is not a fitting term for Buddhist teachings, because philosophy has a lot of ambiguities. Philosophers don't like to arrive at a conclusion. They always want to explore and keep exploring, and their benefit is the uncertainty. But if you look at certain Buddhist teachings, you could say they are philosophical. But if you look into the true teachings, they are representing a way of life. So, having said that, I want to say why are many people, not even young people, they are trying to going away from the religion. It is because to some people, religion has done more harm than that they're supposed to do for the peace. Sacred wars, holy wars, in the name of peace and all that. And plus, you see all of the wars that we see in today's world, they are having a religious point. I don't want to name them. You make them, you name them. They all have a religious point of view. If you go back to the root of the problem, it's a religious issue. Ethnic wars, cultural wars, border wars, all that. So there is a certain perception that even we feel that this is kind of a very, I would say, how to say, kind of a very abusive word in today's world. People feel intimidated. Now, if you apply to certain countries, they ask, what is your religion? That it intimidates us. Certain countries. Because nowadays, if there's a question to ask, what is your religion? People feel intimidated. Right?
Yes.
In the West, as you mentioned about mindfulness, asking religion is such a taboo. Right? So people would like to become free beings. Free thinkers at that point. It doesn't mean that they are not spiritual. They want to be spiritual,
Yes.
but they don't want to be religious. Right? So that is the way how people are trying to become, kind of free thinkers. And but on the other hand, they undergo a lot of work-related, family-related stress, which you mentioned at the beginning. It is because there are a lot of backlogs that are happening due to their way of life. I think we don't supposed to blame the phone, computers. These are really important gadgets in today's world. We have to blame the way how we are going to operate these phones and gadgets. It's not the knife. Someone can take the knife and stab somebody. And at the same time, a house husband will cut the vegetables off, cut the bread off. Right? But somebody will stab. A surgeon will take it and then cut the proper incisions in the body. The problem is not the knife, but the way how we are using the knife. So it's kind of a, what you call, double-edged sword.
Yes, yes.
So gadgets. So I think, as you said, we all have to depend on this nowadays. It is not that we want us to be depending upon these gadgets. It is because now everything has been digital.
Yes.
So there are very good sides. Let's say crimes have been reduced because of the gadgets, right? Still there are discrepancies. So we have to understand the life that is with these digital gadgets. So people don't like religion because of the things that they are experiencing. On the other hand, I also think that having a spiritual root is important as well.
True.
These young people, when they hit 40s, 45s, then they search the temples. I met a lot of people in Canada like that. At that time, by that time, they have messed up their life. Most of them. Then they are asking how to learn Buddhism, how to do this, and they want to share their private life. Some are crying. There was one man who was crying as a hospital when he came to see me. I think it is kind of a periodical thing that they are enjoying, but we have to address these things. So I think when you have a certain spiritual tradition, it's a benefit. But the problem is that spiritual teachers, I would say Buddhist teachers, most of them, they are not giving the appropriate part of Buddhism to the young people. Now, why many people think that they cannot sing Buddhist teachings, certain Buddhist teachings, let's say Buddhist songs, right? Why is it? Because there are many speakers who are saying, as Buddhists, we should not like music. In their Dhamma talks, in their speeches, they are popularizing that idea. Otherwise, lay people don't know where is this coming from. They have no idea, right? Because they have already popularized this, and they are saying that you don't have to like anything, anybody. Everything is anicca. Everything is impermanent. So Buddhism is only to cross the samsara, nothing else.
Yes.
So this is why they are the ones who have messed up the whole thing, so that the reach out has been impeded. Right? So that's why in my sutta studies, as you asked, I am always teaching people, hey, don't look at the monastic version of Buddhism. There is a lay version of Buddhism. Lay people, you are lay people. You have to study what the Buddha said to you, not to the monks. Right? So that's why I'm trying to make an effort that lay people understand their lay life and to become happy, understand their life. If they want to be serious, they have to become monks and nuns. Don't become a monk and nun while being a lay person. That is another problem, right? So I think religion has been a problem to many because of the perceptions, things that they are experiencing. As you said, mindfulness and meditation, because they think it is something not Buddhist. I remember in Vancouver, there was a teacher, a Jewish teacher. He heard that in that particular school, mindfulness meditation is going to be teaching by somebody. So he opposed. I'm a Jew, my son should not learn Buddhist things.
Yes.
So he started, what is that website? Change.org, or maybe a petition, online petition, to sign all the other parents. Our children should not be taught Buddhist things in Canada. Right? So there is that kind of side too.
I see.
Yes, it was a very big petition at the end. You know? Because nowadays people don't like their children to be indoctrinated.
Yes, yes.
So, but young people, when they are a little bit affordable, then they go to these retreats, meditation things.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is a good thing. But my understanding is that as Buddhist teachers, if we can really touch what the young people really need, I think we could have done something more than mindfulness meditation. Because why people are going through challenges? Because they have not done what they're supposed to done. So then they end up with a lot of backlog in their life, akusala backlog. Then they're trying to use meditation as a plaster treatment. They practice meditation, then they go back home. It's like drinking alcohol for a night. And when you are sober, then again the problems are coming back. So in Buddhism, there are things that lay people are supposed to do. If they do, then meditation is something just to make them focus, but their life is very good, flowing very good.
Yes.
So I think we have to see the both sides as why they become free thinkers, and we could have done something better than that, going beyond the meditation.
Yes. Yes, this is very interesting, Bhante, because I am struck by this term you are using, which is backlog. You know, I think a lot of us, and this is something which makes me a little bit sad, that in this country, the most the religious people that do something religious every day, you can see that the Hindus, the Christians, the Muslims, you know, they have something to do. And the people who do the least religious activity are the Buddhists. Because we don't do something as part of our everyday ritual, everyday practice. You know, do you go and do some chanting in the morning? No, we don't. So I think Buddhists, especially in this country, have to be encouraged, to do something that ties them to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha every day.
Why is it? Those teachers, they are always saying self-study is enough.
Oh, yes.
You don't need to group together.
Understand.
You go to the house, you do your meditation, become a Sotapanna, an Arahant. So that is why we are not supportive as a group.
Oh,
all the other religious traditions, they are working as a group, teamwork. Although their fundamentals don't look practical in our way, but they are a strong group. I think we have to work as a group. Kalyana Mittas.
Yes,
the Buddha said you cannot progress in your Dhamma journey without Kalyana Mittas.
Alone,
No, you cannot.
Yes.
But unfortunately, I don't want to name anybody.
Mhm,
These so-called teachers, they have overlooked that side. They only propose, hey, self-study is important. I always emphasize about the group work. So let's say you come as a group for meditation, 20 people. You meditate on that day. Why? You see other people are also meditating. But when you do the meditation only in the house, you can become lazy. You will have certain, distractions. So I think group work is very important to strengthen our activities as a Buddhist community.
Yes.
That has disturbed us
Yes.
a lot.
Yes. So I'm actually wondering, in our temples and in our centers, how can we have this sense of community again, Yeah, how do we build up our relationship with each other? Although, many people seem to think the journey of Buddhism is a very lonely journey. Yeah, you got to walk, you must do it yourself. But actually, when you come together with friends, it's so much more enjoyable.
And then you are progressing. Actually, they don't think, they were made to think so.
Yes.
They were made to think so.
Yes.
Buddha clearly says that without Kalyana Mittas, you cannot become a Sotapanna.
Yes, yes.
There are 4 prerequisites. One is listening to Dhamma talk. Definitely you should have a connection. Second is Kalyana Mittas. Right? You should always be supported by Kalyana Mittas.
Yes.
Then you will become a group.
Yes. That's
So even I have heard in some managements, even they are not able to come for the meetings, right? But in some other traditions, if you take, for instance, Mahayana tradition, their purpose is not self-study. Their purpose is altruism. Because they think you are a bodhisattva, he is a bodhisattva, we all are bodhisattvas. So when I am invited by another bodhisattva, I have to show my bodhisattva skills. But if you say, no, you do your study, I do my study, so we are trying to isolate from the society.
Yes,
The Japanese government understood this long time back in the Meiji period. Let me tell you. During the Meiji period, what happened? By the end of the Meiji period, if you know the Japanese history, the Japanese government said certain things to the religious traditions. Especially going beyond the Shinto, they said to the Zen and other Nichiren traditions, monks, you cannot isolate from the society. That affects our growth in the country. But they said certain things. You cannot be vegetarians anymore. There are things we don't agree. You are going to marry in Japanese temple. When the master passed away, the son is going to become the head. We might not agree these things. And you cannot isolate. You have to be a part of the society.
Yes.
So in the Theravada system, we have to find out. So this is a problem at the administration level, management level, practice level, and then the outreach level. So all these areas should be addressed as a community, how to build community in those places, not as a self-taught ways.
Yes. Yeah, this is...
That's why Japan took up Buddhism in a different way. Yes.
And I think it's wonderful because, another country, which is Korea, has done the opposite. All the Buddhist temples moved to the countryside. And there were no temples in the cities. And do you know what happened now? The others have moved in. And so you can see, Korea
Christian
is very strong in the other religion, not in Buddhism. Yeah.
No, Japan is not the best example. I was telling that the government oversaw that this is going to be a problem. So let's come back to our area. Now, what I can say is that we have to change our administrative level, management level, practice level, and the outreach level in order to address young people, especially. Now, our talk is about heightening their awareness.
People,
So we cannot heighten if we don't address those levels. In that process, a lot of things need to be done. So starting from the leaders.
Yes. So what's going through my mind now, what are the ways, I mean, letting them take up leadership is very important. Then they feel they can contribute. But what are for example, what are the activities that will make the youth feel they are doing something useful for themselves?
A youth group.
Yeah.
You think about many viharas don't have a youth group nowadays. Yeah, honestly speaking, they don't have a youth group. But they want to get youth. But they don't have a youth group. Right?
Yes.
So
everywhere
that
must have.
Let's say the top leadership does not respect this idea. They may have some negative idea, don't want to talk to them, they are like that. We've been running the centers, viharas without them. But okay, let's talk about solutions more than the problem.
Yes.
Let's say there is somebody who has properly understood the issue. Now he wants to do something.
Right.
So he can independently make a youth group and then operate within that youth group. Maybe do certain activities like Buddhist music, probably certain activities, maybe certain projects. Then probably talking to the young people to their real problems with some authenticity. Actually, when young people come to the temple and ask questions, they are not really addressed. When they ask a question, they are not properly addressed. Yeah. So then probably that person can create a space for them to be honest about their problems. He or she is going to listen to them and then find the real solutions from the Buddhist teachings.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and probably they can make a youth group as an official one, and then asking them to take up the roles.
Sure.
So among them, they can approach other young people. So they can do, even the top leadership is not listening to them.
Yes.
They can create a certain body, and then the top leadership will be concerned about this. How come they are getting together this way?
Yes.
That means we could do something. We can do something. Yes. Sometimes people are only talking. Even the middle management, lower management, they are not doing anything. So even those senior leaders don't feel impressed.
Yes.
So this is something we can do.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now I've been actually conducting some retreats at
I think that's
Malaysian
wonderful.
universities. One is Shaman University. I got 50 students for the retreat.
Oh, really? Very good.
This year I could not do this time because I was busy. We have a plan to do a retreat in December.
I see.
So they are very cool children. Wonderful children.
Yes.
Foreign Indonesian, Chinese, and local students as well.
Yes.
They are really open to discuss,
Yeah.
but with the right person.
Of course.
They won't be open to the wrong person.
Yes. Yeah.
So when they feel comfortable, they are sharing.
Yes. Yeah. So I think to have somebody like Bhante with this kind of an understanding is so wonderful, and beneficial. So leading from what we have discussed, I would like now to get into a more technical issue, and I'd like to ask Bhante. I'm referring to when there was the pandemic, and then we were all under lockdown, and many people had some mental health issues. Even the youth had. I would like to ask Bhante about this issue of resilience. Resilience means strength. And many teachers have said that in Malaysia we bring up our children to be soft. They don't even have to wash their plates. They don't have to wash their own shoes, because if you are fairly comfortable, well off, you have a maid, you have somebody else doing it. So we have a generation of kids, of young people, who are so soft.
You could say they are spoiled.
They basically, trying not to use that word, but they are spoiled. It's true. So being spoiled, and they are not being given challenges in their life, when they meet with difficulty, they simply melt away. So I would like to ask Bhante, what are the specific teachings or the qualities that we can develop in our young people to make them tougher, to be able to take on hardship? Some of my students, that have graduated, they go out and they get a job. And I'm very happy when they come and visit me. I ask them, what are you doing? And they say, I'm working here and here for this place, that place, And a few months later, they come back and I ask them, where are you working? Are you in the same, still in the same place? They said, no, I'm no longer in that company. I said, why? You moved, you're working in a different place now. They said, yes, I don't like that boss. He scolds me. So every time the boss scolds him, he's very unhappy until he would rather leave that company and go to another place. So I think, and you can say whether you agree with me, our children cannot take hardship, cannot take challenges. So I would like to ask Bhante, to give us some advice on this issue.
What a good question. I think we have to go to the bottom of this issue, why they are being spoiled. Because their parents were not loved enough by their parents. Now these parents are loving so much, you don't even have to wash clothes and all that. Right? So they are giving that kind of love towards them. So what has been happening is that children don't take life a little bit seriously.
Yep.
And they don't, actually they don't like to go through rejection.
Yes.
This is the issue. So we have to teach the power of rejection. Right? It's not just that you get rejected by the school, medical school, law school. Even the situations like the boss, I think a very comparative situation in the workplace, and they are supposed to be very competent in the workplace, and then they easily take it, right? So I think my suggestion for them is that when you ask them, how's your work? Yeah, it's such a good work, But they are thinking that they can easily go ahead by cutting corners, and then, they don't like to work a lot. They want to be smart.
Yeah, work smart, not work hard.
Work hard.
Yes.
And then they're going to cut corners. They are going to not work long hours. They don't have to. So I think we have to teach them in the first place the power of rejection. Parents don't teach that. Parents, they do whatever their children ask them to do.
True.
Right? So at times they have to understand, they have to teach them. That means maybe a big no to certain things. So they will understand life. If somebody, like a lot of people who take life, sometimes they have broken up with somebody. They can't take that pressure.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then sometimes they even record how they take their life.
Yeah.
And things like that also can happen. I remember one Sri Lankan boy who was a lecturer in Kansas. He was having a relationship with a person that his mother and father didn't like, another religion.
Yes.
And then what he did was, he was a chemist in a way. He was making something out of a YouTube video, and then he was smelling that. He recorded all that. The FBI finally found out his Google search and everything. So things for them very hard because they have never been taught this rejection.
Right.
Now in our life, how many times we've been rejected, right? I mean, probably by people, by whatever we like. But every rejection turned us to a better person we never expected.
Yes.
That is the benefit, disguised blessing in our life, right?
Yes.
Sometimes when you look back, you think that it is very good that happened to us, right?
Yes.
So it's very good because otherwise we would have never been that kind of a very better person.
Yes.
So we have to teach. Parents have to teach the power of rejection. How to teach them? Son, daughter, you will be rejected. When you are rejected, don't cry. It is sometimes the norm in this society, right? That is one thing. The second thing is that how to bounce back. Resilience. Let's say now you are rejected. How to find the way out? So meditation really can help. And if you really understand the rejection, then you can really bounce back. You can be resilient. You don't have to struggle a lot, right? Especially when you are working with a tough boss, when you are working with somebody else, this can happen. And the other problem is not even the workplace, change in the workplace. When they get married, they can't tolerate the better half. This is the biggest issue. Sometimes they are doing a massive wedding. When the wedding album is coming, they have been separated already before it comes out. Because they've been loving for something, but they have not understood each other.
Yes.
So rejection is very important. That is how we're going to sustain, deepen our spiritual practice and our secular life. So what I suggest is, as parents, teach children the power of rejection and thereby the power of resilience or bouncing back. They are very important qualities in our life.
Thank you very much, Bhante. So, my dear Dhamma brothers and sisters, it's been just Bhante and I speaking. So, I would like to open it to the floor. I would like to hear your opinions, or if you have any questions, please ask. Yeah, anyone? Yes.
Can you come
please.
to the mic, please?
Yeah. We don't have...
mic is here.
Good evening, Bhante and brother here. It's an interesting talk here. I think you have covered it very well, the whole area of the youth problem. There's one aspect which I think we have not covered is be ourselves as parents. I think that is the most vital factor that is missing here. I mean, a child grows up for two reasons, nature and nurture. Nature is the genes, and nurturing is how we bring up our children. Now the parents are fully occupied with money. I give you a classic example. My own sister, when the daughter came of marriageable age, and she chose a technician as a future husband, she was so unhappy. So when I asked why, and she said, oh, he's not equally well qualified. So I asked her, what guarantee you have that if by marrying an engineer, he's going to keep her happy? But they don't see a person's character. They only see the wealth the guy is bringing. So now, spiritualism or religion stands no chance in the face of money. Materialism wins always. Even if we go to Singapore today, most of them are Christians. But they are Buddhists actually. But when they get the money, they want to be a European. And 90% of them are Christians. And they approached Lee Kuan Yew, the Prime Minister, and said, why don't we make Singapore a Christian country? And Lee Kuan Yew said, this country is built on Indian and Chinese values. I don't want to hear your Christian values coming now, he said. So that was Lee Kuan Yew, an Oxford graduate. So now I think everything boils down to money. Money is the main factor here. Thank you.
Thank you for your expression of your opinion. I hear what you say, but the situation we are in is due to this reason, money. You know, people are just looking at the material benefits that they lack they are not able to see the spiritual benefits which Bhante talked about. Yeah, Bhante, please.
I think what we have to understand is we should not hate the money-driven society. Money is not evil. So we have to give a value to the money, because everything is money at the end, right? But I think as Buddhist organizations, now we go back to our topic, as Buddhist organizations, teachers, whoever the people who are at the advisory level, we have not interacted the youth about this issue from a spiritual point. How much money you need? Now when you ask a young person, how much, I want to make a lot of money, big money. Why do you expect that? I have to buy a lot of things, right? So now what we can do is, do you need that much money? Or do you need a certain amount of money that address your concerns, right? So in early 20s, maybe by late 20s, you may have lots of distractions with the money thing. But when you hit 40, you will go through a certain maturity with the money. I don't need lots of money, but I need money. So we have to handle it in a way how Buddhism can bring to this money-driven society to understand how to live with the proper money. That's why Buddha said ethical money, how to make money, how much money you need. So there are a lot of teachings. Unfortunately, Buddhist teachers are not dealing with them when they talk. They talk that everything is impermanent, do a self-practice and attain Nibbana. This is the issue. So I think we have to, that's why we are doing this effort.
Yes.
We have to go to the suttas, where Buddha talks about money. Now say for instance, one very good example. Ekena bhoge bunjeya dvihikammam payoje chatuttancha nidhapeya apadasu bhavisati. Singaluvada Sutta. Buddha is talking to a young man. The Buddha says, when you make money, try to separate that whole money into 4 fractions. This is not going to be ideal on the face value. We have to understand the bigger sense. Let's say you are making $1,000, then you are going to make into 4 sections. The first 250 you are going to use ekena bhoge bunjaya. The second and third 250, $500, you are going to payojaye invest. You are going to invest more than the use. Now you look at society. Are they investing more than the consumption?
Difficult.
The Buddha says, the 4th fraction, you have to keep it for emergency. Don't depend on anybody. I think today's young crowd, they are planning on that, saving and then investing. So do you think the youth, the Buddhist youth, they are conscious about these teachings? Even the adults don't know these simple teachings. This is one very good example. Even though you can't do it that way, because when by the time you get in the paycheck, you have lots of debt, probably. Maybe the unwise way of spending money. So why don't we talk about wise ways of spending money? Rather than saying everybody is materialistic out there. We all are materialistic, more or less, right? We have to use those comforts. But the thing is, how to survive in that materialistic society. That is important to everybody. So I think these Buddhist teachers, Buddhist organizations, Dhamma schools, they have to develop their curriculum based on these issues. Not that saying money is an evil thing.
Yeah.
Right? Then you are out from the, what do you call this encounter? You are out from the Buddhist society, the young people. What are you talking about? Money is important. You have to talk something about how to use the money. And how not to succumb to money, right? Some people are, they are succumbing to money. The money is controlling them, not that they are controlling the money. On the other hand, they live to make money, right? Not that, the other way around, right? So I think that kind of approach is what we need nowadays. It is a high demand. I think if we approach those Buddhist teachings to the young people, not even young people, all over the world, many people will be more interested about Buddhism. Then they know Buddhism is talking something really appealing to us in this time. Not that you always talk about life is suffering. Young people don't like it. Life is full of dukkha. Oh, really? That sucks a lot. Don't talk about it. Because we all come to Buddhism to find happiness. But if you start with the conversation, life is dukkha. Right? And the translation is also wrong. It is not suffering, dissatisfaction. So we have a minor frustration. Just because we have a minor frustration, does it mean that life is dukkha? I don't think so. Right? So I think we have to see the real problems that are being faced by the people and really bring the true teachings of the Buddha into them, so that I don't think they will go away from Buddhist spiritual things. I will share one small thing before you go to the maybe other questions, your questions. When I was working as the Buddhist chaplain in a university in Canada, one day there was a lesbian couple. They were coming to see me actually. Canada, it is legal, right? So they asked me, can you just think about those kind of people approach us and then learn Buddhism. Very interesting. Can you give us a book to learn some more Buddhism? Then I had in my shelf Venerable Kesari Dhammananda's book. What is it? Those alphabetical book. What Buddhists believe.
What Buddhists believe.
A, B, C, D, E, F.
Yep.
So I said, I only have this book. I think somebody dropped it. Okay, you can take it. So they did not turn up for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, they both came. And then they were trying to tell me, if you are not getting offended, we would like to share something. I said, okay, I'm not getting offended. I'm not dead cell. I would like to hear it from you. I said, in this book, somewhere in this book, and then they turn over the pages, it is said that the Buddha is mentioning responsibilities between spouses. They were more concerned about that part now. Said, it is said that husband has to provide jewelries to the wife. It is a responsibility. But the other way around is not mentioned in the wife responsibility. I think it is discriminating.
Yes.
Then I said, don't worry. Buddha was talking to the Indian society. At that time, man was controlling everything. So women didn't have any big place. Women were not the breadwinners in the household.
Yes.
They were just waiting until the husband is bringing money to the household. So that's why he said so. But if Buddha had to be living in today's world, he would have done for the same, the other person too.
Yes.
Right? So that is how we have to approach. See where they are very much concerned of discrimination.
Yeah.
Right? Sexual orientation. Then what do you call rights and probably responsibilities. Right?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of interesting areas that we can bring up.
Yeah, identity. You know.
Identity
they
issues.
want to understand who and what they are.
Yes.
Yes.
So I was more liberal to understanding people.
Yes.
So Canada and Switzerland, they are the
luckily
first two countries to
accept.
legalize homosexuality as a marriage. So I mean, I'm not saying that every country should do that. So when you are liberal, you understand how to bring Buddhism to the places.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, to add to what Bhante was saying, there was one time many years ago, I was giving this talk, and it was a usual talk on Four Noble Truths. I was talking about suffering, and this young man stood up and said, "Excuse me, brother, I don't understand what you're talking about. I am not suffering." And he explained that he was young, he was studying overseas, the family took care of all his expenses, he was healthy. He said, "What suffering are you talking about?" You know, and in a way, I had to understand him. You know, and therefore,
I think we have to teach young people how to become happier.
Yes.
Not that life is suffering. That is a higher level of thinking in Buddhism, and we don't have to bring that in the first place.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think instead of suffering, we can talk about all these things that Bhante has explained to
how to become successful as a lay person.
Yes.
That's the
and to
main
be
thing.
stronger, to be able to handle rejection and problems and all this. I think this concerns them more, than to give them this blanket idea, you are suffering. It's not relevant, to this young and healthy and happy person. Yeah, right.
Can you have to any other questions?
Yes. Anyone else? You want to add? Yes, brother.
I think the young guy, they say he didn't suffering because he's young. When you are getting old, you will suffering.
Yes.
You should suffering. You can worry about your body, even your money, your house, your wife. Then you will be suffering. So you have to learn Buddha. So solve the suffering and do not have dukkha. Thank you.
Very interesting. I think you brought up the very conservative idea here.
Yeah.
Very good. Let me tell you something. Now we are looking at the young people. How to bring Buddhism to young people. Definitely they are during young time, so they don't want to think about that way. But actually, even when you're getting older, let's say you are getting older, you can still hold on to the happiness. Because Buddha asks us to plan ahead your life. He was particular about how to eat properly, how to eat in moderation. A lot of sicknesses that many people are going through, they are coming from food issues, diabetes, cardiovascular issues, blood pressure issues. And other problems, visama parihara jabada, wrong use of the body, right? So we can minimize a lot of dukkhas. Actually, we are not supposed to always think about the dukkha. We understand that there is a frustration, and then when we understand frustration, we are happy.
Absolutely.
That's where we are looking at, not that life is suffering. The more we understand how frustration is arising, the happier we are. We know this is happening. So I think what we have to present to everybody, not even to young people, is a way to find happiness. That is the most important thing. So if we can advise young people, young adults, senior people, when you become a senior person and going to learn Buddhism, it's a bit tough activity. You can't sit down properly, you have other health issues. That's why we have to advise everybody, plan your life. You can minimize those dukkhas. And then even when you see the dukkha, you will see it as a point of understanding life more. And then there is lots of happiness at that point.
Yeah.
And Nibbana is happiness as well. We are supposed to look at the happiness.
Yes. So anyone else? It's now...
We can take one more question and then wrap this up.
Anything you want to add to this discussion? Yeah.
Actually, Bhante, I think maybe it's causes as conditions because 2018 before MCO, 2019 MCO COVID come in. So I was teaching we started the youth class 2018. Because 2017, I'm teaching Form 4 and Form 5 students, Sunday school here.
You are a teacher, the Sunday school here. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So then 2019, after that, MCO already. Online Zoom was still okay. So started the class that time around 10 students only. And then after that, they classify. Our school classify the youth class 17 to 25 years old. So during MCO, 3 years, 2-3 years, okay, they do come back to the class. So my students does increase weekly. But when we announce come back to physical, they don't want to come back.
Very good question, yeah.
So July, we announced return last year or year before last year. So hardly 5 students come back.
Oh.
So I got 20 odd. They do come back. Some stay 2-3 years with me, So but then physical, they don't come back anymore. So then I got hardly 5 students, 2-3 students present only, And then beginning of the year, like this year, we recruit more a bit, like 10 students like that But then after that, last year also the same thing. Second half of the year, because now they classify only Form 5, youth class Form 5. And then because last 2 years, not many students, this year they change again from 17 and 18 years old only because since they don't come back So second half of the year, they are facing the exam already. That's why I say it's causes and condition. They are sitting for their Form 5 exam. So that's why usually they'll tell me, teacher, second half of the year, I stop coming already. So class starting, I got more students after that. Gradually, I left with a few students only. So next year, maybe after exam, they might come back, and mostly they don't come back. They're preparing for, going college or, technical school or Form 6, things like that. So I think this is something that they're stressed. They have to face exam. So it's quite difficult, So And also, I wonder, so many years they are in our Dhamma school. Every year, if there's any new students, they come in, I ask them, what makes you come to Dhamma school? How long you have been in the Dhamma school? You know, they still give me the answer. My mother asked me to come. My father asked me to come. So my main concern is how to bring up their interest, you know. So that means they are as if forced to come. So after so many years, why still don't have interest, you know? So that means I'm thinking how to make them more interest into the Dhamma.
Interesting.
So this is my main concern. Okay. Okay, Bhante.
Very interesting. I think this is a very good question to finalize our discussion.
Yes.
You said that it is cause and condition. Yes, conditions have arisen for Dhamma schools to go online. But when the online, SOP in your country was lifted, then most of these Dhamma schools were not ready to find out better ways to attract them. Not that they stopped, they didn't want to come. So what I can say is that many viharas, they lost a large amount of students. Why? Students thought that it is just covering a syllabus that teachers do in the Dhamma school. Now, Dhamma schools have to think moving from just a normal syllabi onto an activity-based Dhamma school. You can't do activities online like just a Kahoot game. You can't just survive with a Kahoot game online. So children have to feel there is something that we are interacting with the teachers. Say, for instance, you getting some students. Let's say you're getting 10 students. If things go well in the future, 10 students. Now you are teaching jealousy, maybe anger. You are not using the books all the time. You are asking, when was the last time you became angry? They start to think about it. What is this? Really, I was grumpy with my mom yesterday. When was the last time you felt somebody else was grumpy? So you are moving on to that kind of thing is not possible online. So now we have come to a situation, conditions have arisen. We cannot anymore depend on syllabus, just a teaching syllabus which we teach through books. That time was gone. Because of the COVID time, there was a space for children to learn that course book entirely online. Now they don't believe on that. Even devotees, not even children. Even many temples lost their devotees because they start watching Dhamma talks online.
So much.
Right?
So many.
Then they did not feel that by going to a vihara after COVID is making a different sense. So temples were expecting the normal people in the same way like before the COVID. They were not doing anything. They were just waiting. The devotees are not coming. How are we going to survive? You should plan. Now, conditions have arisen that you cannot anymore expect the normal crowd before the COVID. So they were not ready to plan. They were just waiting, right? So gaping. They were not planning. So Dhamma schools, they really have to think about moving from just a normal syllabi onto an activity base. We can do well, kindness, compassion, how to deal with negative states of mind, maybe some drama type of things about Jataka stories, that kind of thing is very, very essential. Recently, I had an interview with a lady, the chairperson at SK in Malacca. She's been a teacher, actually. She has been doing something new in the temple. According to what I learned, she has been able to bring a lot of students after the COVID. Her way of handling, bringing new things. So I think all these Dhamma school management should consider that we cannot depend on those syllabuses like we did before the COVID, because now children and even parents know that they can learn it online. That's one thing. Second thing is, you said, when you ask children, they said that because my mom asked to go, father, I think it's normal, because the children must be directed by parents. But then as a teacher, or whoever the teachers over there, they have to impress them that there's something new happening to you, going beyond the mom's request, going beyond the father's request. As they come, they have to feel that the only reason I'm coming to Dhamma school, not because my mother and father forced me, but because now I like this Dhamma school. What is happening in Dhamma school really attracted me. So I think teachers have to play a role in that. They have to be with them. Not just only teach the life of the Buddha and make them bombarded with all the mythological information. Teach the proper thing. Teach what is attracting to them. So even to the other programs in the temple, they have to redesign the Dhamma talks, Sutta discussions. They have to really redesign everything, all the activities. So if we do that as a new condition, more people will come at that point. Now, a lot of viharas, centers, they don't plan. They just expect the normal crowd as they had before the COVID, and then they are blaming other people. Now people are not spiritual.
Yes.
They are a-spiritual, they're saying. I said,
right.
they are not a-spiritual. Now they are not interested anymore about what you are doing. You change the attitude, change the programs, make them convinced that this is not something you can learn through online. So I think we can do a role, administration and all that.
Yes.
Yes. I was initially asked by the Dhamma school to run a workshop for the Dhamma school teachers. I said I will do when I have time. Going to a Dhamma school training workshop from BSIDS. Maybe the next couple of months.
Bhante.
Updating their skills, how to think differently, not to think as a traditional Dhamma teacher, not to reject students. I remember there in one of the Dhamma schools in Malaysia, one child asked, I think in 2022, from the teacher, how do we understand Russian and Ukraine war? The teacher rejected, there is nothing from Buddhism about that war. That is the last time students showed up in the Dhamma school. They're getting stuck. If you cannot give even an answer, how are we thinking larger, bigger problems in our life? Because actually the teacher was not ready.
Couldn't handle.
She rejected the question. Said, this is not Buddhist question. She said, this is not a Buddhist question. Buddhism has lots of things about war, fights, commotion, how to stop a fight, how to plan ahead, not to create commotions. They were not educated. What they were educated was life of the Buddha.
And
they depend on that. They survive on that. They mess up on that. Finally, most of them, there are some good teachers as well. We have to credit them. So this is what I can say. We can do a role.
Yes, thank you. You know, whenever I get involved in the Dhamma school training, I tell them, your students go to school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and sometimes in Malaysia, Saturday as well. If on Sunday you reproduce this, what they have been going through, you lost them. Because they are not interested. They already have 6 days, 5 days, 6 days of that school. And you give them another day, which is Sunday, and they're supposed to have a good time on Sunday. They are really not interested. And one of the things which I also tell the teachers, if you do not know how to teach, if you have never been exposed to teaching as a profession, you will teach how you were taught. You know that? You only know your teachers teaching you. So in this day, 20 years or later, you teach your student how your teacher taught you. Finish. So you need to know teaching techniques, teaching philosophy, teaching approaches. Then you can make it interesting for your student.
I think with the timing we can conclude at this point. Thank you, Brother Chye.
No, thank you very much,
moderating
Bhante.
this event. So my final thoughts, I can summarize this way. As Buddhist leaders, managements, viharas, we have to look at what they really want. We have to make a good relationship with them. We have to invite them to leadership roles. And we have to truly address with authentic approaches. They should not be left alone in their spiritual or whatever the world. So it's a larger, bigger approach. I hope that all the centers across the world understand this thing and then do something. That is how we're going to overcome this issue. I will do a transference of merits and then you can finalize. Thank you, Brother Chye again.
No,
thank you, everybody who showed up.
Bhante.
May all the good karmas we've been making today, by understanding how to approach young people to Buddhist activities, our Vihara centers, all these Dhamma teachings, I hope that you will be doing something in your own efforts in your circles. Finally, may this Dhamma knowledge, practice be helpful and supportive for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silissa niccang vaddha pachayino chattaru dhamma vaddhanti ayuvannu sukhang balang ayurarugya sampatti sagga sampatti me vacha atu nibbana sampatti iminati saminjatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Yes.
Thank you, Bhante, for transferring the merit. On behalf of the management of Mahavihara, I would like to express my gratitude and thankfulness to Bhante and Brother Tan and brother and sister in Dhamma. Thank you for coming to attend the Dhamma talk for today and as well as a sponsor for tonight. Thank you and good night.
Yeah, for group photo? Okay.
And I think there is a drink over there. You won't grab after.
Oh, some refreshment.